The problem is that before calling the onClick method, I can come here and type component.likesCount, set this to, let's say 2. In a real world situation, this should never happen. Because let's say a post has initially 10 likes. So when I click it, the number of likes should be 11. In other words, the number of likes should only be changed if we click that like button. It shouldn't magically change otherwise. Same is true for component.isSelected. Again, the value of this field should only be controlled when we click this like component or like button. So this is where we need to implement a read-only property so the consumer of this class cannot change the value of these two fields. These two fields, their value should only be changed inside the onClick method. All right, so back in our like component, first I'm going to change the name of these parameters to _likesCount and _isSelected. I'm also going to change their access modifiers to private, so we cannot set them from the outside. And then we need two properties. So get likesCount, and here we return this ._likesCount. One more property, so get isSelected, and here we return this ._isSelected. With this implementation, if we go back to main.ts, we get a compilation error here because we cannot access these private fields from the outside. And also, if we change these to their properties like likesCount, again, we get a compilation error because this is a read-only property. Now with this implementation, our component will always be in a valid state. So finally, let's change the name of this field to their properties so we can display them on the console. All right. Now back in the terminal, when we compile these files, look what happens. We get this error. Accessors are only available when targeting ECMAScript 5 and higher. So here we need to pass a switch to TypeScript compiler so it targets ECMAScript 5. So tsc start.ts -- target, and here we add ES5, and then node main.js. Okay, now the application is working beautifully. I just want to clarify something before we finish this lecture. Even though we defined these two properties here, in a lot of Angular applications, we don't really need these, and we quite often use fields. Because the issue I showed you here about changing the value of these fields directly outside this class, that issue does not happen in Angular applications. Because in an Angular application, we bind an element on the view, like a span, a paragraph, or something, to a field in our component. And with this, the value of that field is displayed on the user interface. So there is no code to directly modify that field. Modification only happens when the user clicks a button or triggers some other action that raises a DOM event. You're going to see that later in this course.